There. There. Pretty sure. Pretty sure niggas can. Start of the year already, man. Later. But I got a lot of shit to say. This one. What we got? Getting caught up and shit.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. The Black Panther and Fantastic Four Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer just leaked out recently. I just did a video for it right as we started to see that footage. There was also a brand new report on Marvel's plans for a totally new T'Challa Black Panther in both the next Avengers movies. That's right, Ryan Coogler also just did a big interview talking about Black Panther 3 in the future of the character, because that movie, Black Panther 3, is going to be the first Marvel movie after Avengers Secret Wars during Marvel Phase 7 in that soft reboot that they're doing on the MCU. So it really does seem like a lot of the reports, a lot of the leaks, and the early footage we've been seeing from Avengers Doomsday confirm the theory that Marvel is using Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars to test out a new T'Challa Black Panther before they introduce him in a much bigger way in Black Panther 3. There's a lot to unpack here, so if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. This is just the beginning of footage for Avengers Doomsday this year, too. We have the Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks, too. Of course, I will do all the videos for that, whatever Marvel does wind up releasing, or whatever also leaks out, too, because there's been a lot of leaks lately. Just a couple days ago, there was a new report circulating that Damson Idris would be the new T'Challa Black Panther, but what Marvel and the Russos are doing is introducing him during Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, supposedly as a variant, if this is to be believed, unless people are misquoting the news. That would mean he'd have to come from a different universe or a different timeline. There are a couple of different ways for them to explain how he's a variant, like another version of T'Challa from another Earth. And what they're doing is using Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars to test the waters and see how he performs as Black Panther and how audiences and fans respond to him, because Black Panther 3 is so important for them as this cornerstone of Marvel Phase 7 after Secret Wars, just like the upcoming X-Men movies they're working on. Marvel Phase 7, like everything they do going forward, they're basically using Secret Wars as this soft reboot point, this onboarding place for new fans to basically try and drive way more interest heading into the new stuff than we had during Marvel Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6.
Someone cooked here.
So this is why Marvel is trying to give itself the safest possible path to a new T'Challa Black Panther in the MCU going forward in all those movies. Like, let's test somebody out before we fully commit to this so that we don't wind up with another Marvel Phase 4, Marvel Phase 5 situation. Also, because it's the Russos who would be introducing this new Black Panther, a lot of you probably realize this, is the exact same tactic that they took when they introduced Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa back in the day as Black Panther during Captain America Civil War. Introduce the character in somebody else's really big movie, show off what he can do, get people hyped up about the character, then give him his own solo movie. So you kind of see the path that Marvel is plotting here. They bring in this new Black Panther as a side character. He's total badass, kicks a whole bunch of butt. Then, assuming that everything goes well, they give him a much bigger role in the next solo Black Panther movie, and he transitions to becoming the main version of Black Panther going forward. Marvel and the Russos just seem like they're doing the safest possible things they can with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, that's why Marvel went to the Russos to direct the movies, why they went to Robert Downey Jr. to come back as Doctor Doom, instead of casting somebody completely brand new as Doctor Doom. Marvel and Disney want every last possible dollar that they can get from you, so they just have to do the absolute safest possible thing, which is also probably why they wanted that X-Men trailer for Avengers Doomsday to go so hard. Probably the best trailer that they've released so far. They really should have led with that. But I think the recent Avengers Doomsday, Black Panther, and Fantastic Four teaser trailer that I just did a video for confirms some time runs out theories about the way they're adapting Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Avengers Doomsday is more of a time runs out movie, Jonathan Hickman's storyline. In Avengers Secret Wars is going to be based more on Jonathan Hickman's version of Secret Wars. Obviously very different because the Russos completely rewrote the movies last year. Probably till the last possible minute too. I would not be surprised if they're still changing the movie today, even though technically they're mostly done with Avengers Doomsday, with like a couple pickup shots, a couple extra scenes that they're probably filming before the movie comes out. It was the exact same situation when they made Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They were still working on the movie even after it came out opening weekend. Like they were still editing the movie, fixing special effects, doing things after the movie had already been released in theaters. Based on what Ryan Coogler has been saying in his interviews, I don't think that anyone is taking the mantle of the main MCU Black Panther from Shuri until later or the end of Black Panther 3. So that means that heading into Avengers Doomsday, like we saw in the teaser trailer footage recently, she comes into the movie at the beginning as the main version of Black Panther throughout both of those movies.
The king has his duties to prepare our people for the afterlife.
But there are a lot of people that were wondering about this because in a lot of the highlight reels where Marvel was releasing early promos and hyping up everybody about all the actors that were going to be in it, they would just refer to her as Shuri, not as Black Panther, the way that they would refer to the other actors as their characters' names. Why would they just be calling her Shuri and not Shuri and Black Panther or just Black Panther? Seems pretty clear this because they're going to introduce multiple versions of Black Panther during the movies. We're also going to be getting multiple versions of Spider-Man, so we've already actually seen this in practice. They just haven't done it yet with the Black Panther character. Technically, they did do it with Killmonger during the What If series, where he actually did legit become Black Panther, taking over for T'Challa in another universe. Absolutely cannot wait to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Andrew Garfield eventually come back too, along with Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man. Doesn't it now make sense why we saw so much of Damson Idris with all the other Black Panther characters in the last year or so? There were so many interviews that he did about becoming the new version of Black Panther, trying to not reveal things with Marvel because their lawyers probably had every sniper trained on him if possible. This is also why you probably haven't heard him talk a lot about Black Panther recently, that there was a stretch during last year where he did nothing but talk about becoming the next Black Panther, then boom, immediately shut up real quick, and that is probably because he actually was talking to Marvel about becoming a version of Black Panther. Usually the rule of thumb is that if an actor is talking a lot about doing some big role like this, they have not actually landed the role yet. When they shut up, it's after the deal has been signed and the lawyers basically tell them, you had better shut up about this or there will be consequences. Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo didn't invent this phenomenon, like it was happening long before they came along. It just became a big thing during the Marvel MCU era when they came along, and Marvel started turning it into purposeful marketing, like turned their spoilers into marketing. So eventually Marvel started leaning into the curve and using that to get people even more hyped up. Like sometimes the leaks actually help more than they hurt. This is also why everybody's been talking about the Avengers Doomsday teaser trailers that have leaked out. So far we've had 4 with this new Black Panther Fantastic Four version. I do feel like a couple of these genuinely leaked and then Marvel would just like let them out and then slowly take them down. Like they weren't really quick to take them down just because they were happy with all the extra press because they dominated along with Stranger Things over the entire holiday period. Like all you've heard about the last couple weeks are Stranger Things and Avengers Doomsday, which is exactly what Marvel wants.
The question is, who will you be?
EVE Online is a vast universe. Alive.
So what it seems like Marvel is doing, in Avengers Doomsday, we meet this variant version of T'Challa, played by Damson Idris, if reports are to be believed. He makes it through, he survives to Avengers Secret Wars, helps all the multiverse characters that come together, the multiverse Avengers, like the greatest Avengers, all the X-Men characters that also survived too, other Fantastic Four characters, other variants that we didn't see in Avengers Doomsday. They wind up defeating Doctor Doom, and if the ending is somewhat similar to the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars ending, they use that as the soft reboot point and basically reboot everybody that isn't already on the MCU that they want and sort of rejigger, recast everything that they want to do heading forward into Marvel Phase 7 so that the MCU in the movies more closely resembles the comic book 616 universe with all the characters and teams living on the same Earth. And they just leave this new T'Challa version of Black Panther inside the MCU and just say that he's always been here. But I think the important thing to remember is that based on what Ryan Coogler has been saying in interviews and what the Russos have been saying, I don't think that anyone is taking the mantle of the main MCU Black Panther from Shuri until later or the end of Black Panther 3. Meaning that if we look at the Avengers Doomsday Black Panther trailer with them meeting the Fantastic Four characters, it's meant to happen very early on in the Avengers Doomsday timeline, but after the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, after the Fantastic Four have come into the MCU. You have to imagine that at this point, all the different teams have started to split up and deal with the incursions, with Doctor Doom, like all the main problems that they have at the beginning of Avengers Doomsday. And at that time, when their team, the Black Panther and Fantastic Four team, pair up, Shuri is still the main Black Panther. That's why we saw the footage of her, like her little boot. You can see her Black Panther suit in the bottom of the frame on what looks like the Fantastic Four ship with some of the new Avengers characters and the Fantastic Four characters. But when their team first pairs up, Shuri is still the main Black Panther, M'Baku is still the king of Wakanda, and the MCU T'Challa's son, Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa's son, is still a little kid. Not much time has gone by since Black Panther Wakanda Forever. We know that a little time has gone by because Shuri has that brand new Black Panther suit that's way more hardcore, and Namor also has a brand new, more comic book accurate suit that looks like his time runs out comic book suit. This is also why I think there's a soft confirmation that they're using some of Time Runs Out in the Jonathan Hickman comics for the events of Avengers Doomsday. But it's going to be vastly different than the entire comic. It won't be like a page-to-screen kind of copy-paste adaptation. During both of the movies, Shuri is still the main Black Panther in the MCU, so if they introduce this Damson Idris T'Challa Black Panther, he's more of a side character first helping them out. A lot of the concept art that leaked out last year actually seems like it's more from Avengers Secret Wars too, like this version of T'Challa Black Panther and all the different suits that they were testing out in what looks like a Thundercats very inspired kind of Secret Wars scene, like this secret Black Panther lair built into the side of a mountain.
Just wonderful.
Now it makes a little more sense why he looks a little bit like Damson Idris. Ryan Coogler is also involved with a lot of the Black Panther Wakanda subplot in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars because Black Panther 3 is still supposed to be the very first movie after Secret Wars after the reboot. So it's really important that all these movies line up, even though they are using Secret Wars for a soft reboot on everything. Everybody post all your reactions in the comments below and let me know what you want Marvel to do with their new Black Panther T'Challa character going into Marvel Phase 7. What'll happen is that next week we'll get a shiny
Here's what Deadpool's abilities are most likely going to be when he releases. Thanks to the trailers, we actually get quite a lot of information. Starting off, he's 100% going to have his Desert Eagles as a primary attack. They're going to be a very nice ranged attack, especially when his katanas are going to be the real heavy hitters. They're going to be doing majority of the damage here. And I also imagine his katanas could have another ability named Maximum Effort. This is where he goes absolutely berserk with his katanas, similar to how he went berserk in the trailers. And on top of that, Deadpool is 100% going to have regenerative powers. The way I've made this work is if Deadpool's health is below 20%, he cannot regen, but if it's above, he regens really fast, meaning you have to get the quick elimination on Deadpool. And even if you eliminate him, it allows him to break the fourth wall, completely remove the respawn timer, and allow Deadpool to revive himself, jumping himself back into the game. This would be absolutely awesome. An amazing fourth wall break, and just fits Deadpool so well. Of course, this is just a concept based on the trailer, so take it with a grain.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44. a complete.
A$AP Rocky just released the lead single for one of the most anticipated rap albums in so long with his track Punk Rocky, and with the stakes never being higher, Rocky's welcomed us to the world of his first new album in almost 8 years in a fashion like no other, and after what we have seen. Well now, despite some people trying to hate on this record and the loser Drake stans trying to throw around this diss again like it means anything, Rocky's new song kind of throw.
Oh my god. I don't even know your raps.
Around this diss again like it means anything. Rocky's new song, the video that has come along with it, the level of thought around everything this rollout is bringing, and just even the divisiveness that the song is bringing itself is the best thing that could be happening. And if you are an A$AP Rocky fan, a rap fan, or just a music fan, well, before we go any further into seeing how confident A$AP Rocky is in his new work and how he does not care what anyone has to say, leave a like and subscribe, because finally, we are on the genre out and being the first song to officially be a part of Rocky's new album. This record, Punk Rocky, has people split down the line on how they feel, with some people loving the record and some people hating it. And while it's one thing to not love the creative choices Rocky took, if you're sitting here calling this record mid or trying to clown it, especially after seeing the video or even the single cover itself, which is a nod to Parappa the Rapper, which in of itself is so awesome, just stop it. Because after a run of albums in hip-hop from the bigger names that has given us albums like The Carter 6, Ooh I Scooty, What Happened to the Streets, and probably some other albums that were so bad and forgettable that I don't even remember them.
Y'all chill out, bro. Chill out on my nigga Jeffrey.
What we are seeing from everything Rocky is doing is that after albums and artists like those made the very idea of a rap project feel more meaningless than it ever should have been due to the carelessness, lack of direction, and just lack of creativity in every waking second of those projects, Rocky is showing us, whether you think the first single is great or not, that he is doing the exact opposite of the thing that has been making hip-hop tank in the hands of most rappers. And really, when you see A$AP Rocky pull out all the stops to give us the record he did, well, it's important to understand what he is doing here, because this is not a record that he put out to top the charts necessarily and build hype for the purpose of building hype, but this record does what the biggest geniuses in rap have done with their single releases recently for their major albums, such as his good friend Tyler the Creator, for example, and the lead single choice he had for Chromacopia with the track Noid, which again wasn't necessarily the hit of the album or the song that became the most popular, but the purpose of releasing it as a lead single was to create a song that demands the listener's attentions within a way that is equally infatuating as it is essential to the listening experience, with the goal of properly setting up expectations for what to experience within the world that the artist is creating for the entire body of work. And for Rocky, if you do remember, in a recently released statement from a brand that is doing an exclusive collaboration vinyl for the record called Built, well, what they said in the PR for their custom collaboration with A$AP Rocky is this: the album reflects Rocky's growth while staying true to where he came from. He personally designed this custom vinyl art exclusively for Built members, from the New York-inspired cover art to the smallest artistic details. The 15-track double LP vinyl moves through genres the way you'd move through a city: jazz, hip-hop, metal, indie, R&B. Each track capturing a different block, mood, or moment. It's Rocky in full range. And so when you see the description and see what the album is aspiring to stand for, which aesthetically is about Rocky's core roots and, well, of course, hip-hop, but then it also talks about his growth and then expanding into genres like metal, indie, R&B, and jazz. That Drake bar about Rocky dropping mid again has never looked worse, and the loser stans who are trying to make him look bad by saying it should stop right now and give that up. Because, well, despite the long and...
I don't even know you rap still, nigga. That was in a
way
song.
too long, you could say, wait that Rocky has made us have for this album. I mean, when you listen to this punk Rocky record and hear the rapping over the fast-paced drums, Rocky's vocals glisten into the tracks seamlessly. The production evolved drums. Rocky's vocals glisten into the tracks seamlessly. The production evolved and really for almost 4 minutes long, ultimately give us a record that is an experience that never sounds boring, uninspired, or, and I love this one, especially in this day and age, repetitive once. Well, altogether, I am really excited to see how this record fits into the rest of the album. And even when we look at the music video for this song, it's going to be hard for anyone to top this thing when it comes to music video of the year, as this really does have film quality visuals.
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
And on that note, as a visual artist, with the appearances, actors, story, and framing, Rocky does show that he has thought through every single corner of this album to a level that only a few other rappers in this game are even able to, as everything so clearly feels like it's building to something bigger. And when you have visuals that remind you of the Beetlejuice movies, well, that speaks volumes. And when it comes to the industry being scared, well, speaking of Beetlejuice, and remind me not to say it a third time, or really make sure I don't. Well, beyond Winona Ryder, who is a star of that franchise, being and starring in this video, and also the legendary Danny Elfman being a part of it too. Well, when you look on the cover of this album and see that right under Rocky's name is, well, none other than the guy who made and directed those films and so many other classics in Tim Burton, you understand why this thing looks the way it does, and you understand why it really does feel like Rocky is making a movie, as well. Tim Burton is the guy who designed the cover for this record and all of the supporting visuals and creative for Rocky's music, and is pretty much playing an executive producer role at large. And with this, if you're telling me now that Rocky is one of the greatest movie directors, not just from a storytelling perspective, but from a visual and world-building perspective, because seriously, from the 2 Batman films he did, which are so underrated these days, Edward Scissorhands, to even some of the later films, despite what you may want to say about them, one thing that Tim Burton is arguably the best at in the entire world, and has always made me a fan, is just the one-of-a-kind way he creates some of the most eye-catching, memorable, and just ethereal sights that you will ever see on a screen. As really, who has a more distinct and memorable visual style than Tim Burton? And with him being Rocky's literal right-hand man for this entire album, in terms of 2 geniuses coming together to create something like this is like telling me that Kendrick Lamar is having Christopher Nolan executive produce his album, or Pusha T, Martin Scorsese. Just in terms of how perfect and based on their strengths as creatives, Tim Burton and Rocky really do have. And so really, after seeing how confident A$AP Rocky has been with this rollout, and how amazing everything has looked and sounded, from the videos to the art and, well, to the punk Rocky song, which I like more and more, I am immersing myself within it. Well, overall, when I just see the world being built here, and this may be a big claim based on the history that A$AP Rocky has in music and how great he has been when he is actually dropping, but I really do think Rocky has the chance to create his magnum opus here and create even his biggest album to date with how high concept everything feels. And really, if we get an album rooted in hip-hop that is blending into other genres with genius visuals, Tim Burton direction, and 8 years of Rocky thinking through his best material, I mean, all the intangibles are here to get an album of the year level album in January. And really, on that note, the only other question I have here with where Rocky is going with this album and what is going to play a pivotal role is who will be featured on this project, because that will be pivotal to the album's world building and storytelling, one, and it also can be very important to its success, because if Rocky does get a song with Rihanna, let's say, and they make a hit, it's going to be a long year for Drake, as they could dominate the charts. And really, on that note, with features, I mean, while Rocky said that none of the singles before this are on the album, so that means that J. Cole won't be there, and probably the Alchemist production won't be there, as seemingly all they did was the song Ruby Rosary. He has given a list of other producers who worked on the album who we haven't heard yet, like Metro Boomin, so he could be here. And he also said he had a song with Busta Rhymes, Slick Rick, Flava Flav, and an ensemble of other artists which still could be on this record. But after all the time that has passed, who knows how many iterations of this album there has been, and who knows what we are actually going to get on it. But on that very note, as the record does come out on January 16th, we will find out very soon. But until then, let's just enjoy whatever A$AP Rocky is going to do next. Because one thing that is very clear is that Rocky is gearing up to release at least what he thinks as an artist, a creative, and a generational talent. His best work ever. And so now with all that said, let me know. What do you think about everything going into A$AP Rocky's new album right now? What are your expectations? What do you think we're going to see? Who do you think is going to be featured? And well, so far, what are your thoughts on the world we are being brought into? And what are your thoughts on the new single that was released, Punk Rocky? Really let me know your thoughts on this track. I'm genuinely curious to hear if you loved it, if you hated it, and what you really thought about the specifics of the direction Rocky is taking here, and what this could mean for the implications of the rest of the album, especially because it is in the later part of it in track 10. Now, if you made it to this point in the video, thank you for watching. I really appreciate your support. And if you want to see now how on the good side of rappers making bad people look worse, Doechii just made sure that Aiden Ross is ruined for a longer time than we could have ever expected.
You have it listen, you type it in, and then you go digging.
I'm in Atlanta! I'm in Atlanta! Where the Clover Boys at? I'm a Clover Boy today! Everyone's like, yo, Rob.
Alright, chat. I'll be right back. We got a video today to Oslo. On continue.